I'm an urban designer, and many people ask me what it is to be an urban designer, like my parents ask me, what do you do? Some people think of an urban designer as this archetype, building little scaled trees or designing benches, and the other part thinks about an urban designer that I'm developing new neighborhoods, and people keep asking me, so what neighborhood are you working on, or which city are you building now? And I mean, this is something that I thought I would be doing until the crisis, until 2008. But the truth lies actually somewhere in the middle. A lot of my work has to do with creativity and basically strategic work, trying to find solutions and different kinds of varieties of solutions, and less about thinking about the problems. I have been studying in the Netherlands, so to be an urban designer, I studied in the Netherlands, which actually influenced me a lot. It's a country with a very pragmatic approach. For instance, if they wouldn't build dams, the country would be flooded. It's also a country which learned me to be hands-on. Like, for instance, this example from Amsterdam. The city of Amsterdam was cutting costs and basically displaced a couple of public rubbish bins from the streets. And what the inhabitants did, they just placed their own plastic rubbish bins and wrote a little note about their frustration. It's a country which is very, very well organized. Every single square meter has a purpose and a function. So even spaces which are, you think, not well used are used well. And it's also a country where relatively a lot of inhabitants live. It's a country which embraces togetherness and otherness. And during my studies, I also learned to not to basically think that different things do not match, find potential between different things, to be curious and inventive, like, for instance, this water bus in Rotterdam. So for me, urban design, but also design in general, means a constant loop of three different things, and this is propose, experiment, and learn. So you're constantly doing this all the time. It's never the same. Now, during my studies, I did a lot of this propose. I mean, I was basically making utopias. But I think utopias are important. In order to imagine things, you have to come up with an utopia. So what I did during my studies, I made a lot of photoshopped images with a lot of people in them, being busy and, going to places and, always somewhere. But what I also did is try to find a new function to an existing neighborhood or an existing part of a city. So not to erase something or abandon it, but try to find a new function. So, from these three elements, propose, experiment, and learn, during my study times, I actually only could try the first one. I mean, I could never really build the environment one-to-one that I have designed, and hence I could unfortunately never really learn from it. Would this ever work? Does this make sense, what I do? During my studies in Amsterdam, I went to Bratislava. I come from Slovakia. So I went to Bratislava and I met Sandra, who became a friend of mine. And what Sandra did is quite amazing, because she managed to convince owner of a private property in the city center to transform it into a temporary use public garden. Now this is really interesting because there's a combination of private initiative and, two private initiatives, but they didn't know each other at all, these two people. And what happened with this plot is that it not only used the empty plot in the city, but also the resources of the people, because it connected the people, it connected their skills and knowledge how to build something together from scratch. And when I was thinking about these unused spaces in the city, it actually made a lot of sense to me, because, cities, or at least cities, are becoming much more urban. There's more people moving to the cities. So what this means is that we are a bit fighting, or we are not sure how much space can we use. We have more people, but actually a little bit less space, or we are more together. Now we also live in a time where we actually have access to a lot more resources than in the past. But the problem is that we can't use them effectively and efficiently. So my question is there a tool with which you can, still use and renew and reactivate the good stuff, Like, for example, this rubbish bin in Germany, that's where you can still put good stuff for the homeless people. So the three types of urban assets, urban built assets, let's say, I was looking at were empty buildings, deteriorating public spaces, and roofs. So I was trying to figure out, like, okay, what can we do with these things? And during the time when I met Sandra, I met a bunch of other really interesting people in Bratislava. So we made it's a totally informal, we didn't know each other group. And we were thinking like, hey, we should do something really cool because Bratislava actually misses good quality public spaces. And not only that, but public spaces which are maintained because the city doesn't do a lot of good work. So we were thinking, yeah, what wasn't there yet? And a roof. There is no like publicly used roof in Bratislava, so let's do that. For 1 year, we have been looking for, I think, 4 different roofs. 3 owners of these roofs, publicly accessible roofs, denied it. They really loved the idea, but they denied it because, we have never done this before, so we don't know how to react or what to do. So we're like, okay. But in the end, it was just really recently, 2 months ago, we were talking to the director of the Slovak National Radio Station. Some of you might know this building. It's a basically upside-down pyramid. And under this pyramid, there is a big terrace of 2,000 square meters. So what we did, besides that we showed our plan, what we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it, how long will it take, how much will it cost. Besides that, we just made a couple of drawings, just that he knows what we are aiming for. We did that, what kind of functions there could be. And, a couple of weeks ago, we signed a contract with the owner, with the director. It's a public institute, that's very important to say. We signed a contract €1 per year, undefined time. We are really happy, but we have a lot of work. I mean, we started to build up the terrace. We were cleaning the terrace. There's a lot of work. And when we were cleaning the terrace, there were people coming by, hey, what are you guys doing here? This has never been opened. True. I mean, this roof terrace has been for 25 years closed, and it's perfectly fine to use. So then I realized, my competencies of being an urban designer, they're not coming from my studies or my title, but it's actually coming from me being an active citizen. And who is this active citizen? This active citizen is actually portrayed in the face of this little boy, because he was helping us, He was carrying this stick, responsible, He was risk-taking. It was almost bigger as him. And he was very courageous. He had a big courage to do things, just like us. A new citizen is, for me, somebody who is not only together with somebody, we are together here sitting, fine, great. But a new citizen, for me, is somebody who does things together. So it's also a do-it-together city. And of course, as citizens, we have our duties, our responsibilities. We don't really need to do anything because, the city will do it, right? The local municipality. But the new citizen is the one that says, I can do it, So the urban voids in the city creates places where new social things happen. It's a social catalyst. These places create informal spaces where you can argue with people, where you can compete with people or collude, collaborate, have conflicts and innovate and compete. And this is the city for me. I mean, these are all really great stuff. This is innovation for me. People innovate when they meet. And then, also the new citizen for me is somebody who is networked, is, as I said, cooperative, is trusting each other. We were not knowing each other, these 6 people that did this roof terrace at all. We trusted that we want to do a good thing for the community, for the people. And we are local, because we are locally based. We live in the city, but we have all experiences from different cities, so we can kind of have little things that we can try and experiment with. Okay, but while I was working on this project, a friend of mine in Vienna, Margot, with whom I studied in Amsterdam, and she lives in Vienna, by the way, she called me, hey, Veronika, we have to meet. I was like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, the city of Vienna called me that they have an empty building in the city, and they asked me if I would like to do something with it. And I would like you to ask if you could join the team, if we would do something together. And I said, well, let's sit down first, have a look. But yeah, after 50 minutes, after I saw this building, I said to her, yes, we are doing this. It's great. And it's the building in the 3rd district on Marksgasse. So we found a verein, an association. And it's basically a building that when you walk past it, you will not notice it, you know. This is the problem with urban voids, that you just go next to it. It's a blind spot in the city. But what is inside has a lot of potential. Great rooms. What do we do there? We were thinking, what do we do there? And then the idea came, well, you know, there's so many of us, like so many of our friends working from home, you know, and they have no place to collaborate together with other people. Let's do a new working environment. Let's do a new office building with many little offices, but since they're in one building, they will hopefully collaborate, and we will really support that. So what happened is that we had an open call in March 2014 for projects. 50 projects applied, we selected 50 projects because so much fits, and we had much more applications. And what is really special about this building is that all the people in the house, they designed and seized the room for themselves. So they designed it by their own needs or what they need. The building has 6 floors. So this is the view from the 6th floor. What is funny to see that all these trees you see are actually borrowed from a neighbor around there. So we are using in a temporary way other stuff as well, not only the building. It is a building that is given a new meaning. This is important for us, that old stuff, you don't abandon it and you don't sweep it away, but try to use it and give it a new meaning. Without trying to be arrogant here, this project is also, and together with Bratislava, it's a project that is doing a little correction of the existing system. So when, for example, the local government doesn't know what to do, you know, there is a testing, pioneering, prototyping project that does it, and which is basically a tool to work with. Now, that's why I think it's important to think and talk about post-pop-ups, because many people think, yeah, this urban garden, yeah, it will come and go. The same with Marksgasse, yeah, cool, great stuff, it's, yeah, blah. But we take it really seriously. I mean, we are really building up tools. Temporary use is a tool to change land use in the city. Now, the citizens are the ones with the drill and with the ideas. And then you have the local government who can't really progress because of the bloody administration and regulations, and we can't change things. But they have a network, they have a radar of local entrepreneurs, and they know where there's empty spaces in the city, so they can really help us. So that's why I think the city and the owners should be a connecting link, because when these two things don't connect, so the local initiatives with the city will never become a maker city, an innovative city. I would like to read out a very interesting and very fitting quote from a famous urban planner, Jane Jacobs, who said, "Cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody." And my message for you tonight is that if you want to improve anything in your city, don't wait until somebody else or the local municipality will do it for you. But start with your courtyard and start with your street and be your city's agent of change. Thank you.